You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments below, and be sure to smash that like button.
We went to break, and I was talking a little bit about that, how the College Sports Commission has loosened their prohibition on NIL payments. And it was interesting, the timing, because there's a piece out today as well where it affected, I'm trying to think of the way to say this, they sort of list the power brokers in college sports. This is from CBSSports.com, and the title of it is Meet College Football's Kingmakers, 22 front office executives who are revolutionizing how rosters are built. Well, Austin Thomas is on this list. And there's a lot of people, like some names you would recognize, some you wouldn't, like James Blanchard, who is the general manager at Texas Tech. And, of course, Texas Tech is one of those programs that has come out of virtual oblivion, where they only had a very small sliver of relevance under Mike Leach. And other than that, in their entire history, they've been largely and completely irrelevant. Well, they've been able to use their Texas oil money and utilize it in this era to become a competitive football team, what they hope will be a more competitive team. And the guy in charge of all that is James Blanchard. There's Wes Fritz, who's at Houston. That's Willie Fritz's brother, who's there. Billy Glasscock at Ole Miss, who's doing the same thing as their GM. Former LSU quarterback Brandon Harris is the GM at the University of Texas. Brandon Harris hasn't even turned 30 yet, y'all. I mean, it's pretty incredible to think of what he's been able to do there in just a short amount of time in his young career. But he went from being on the recruiting staff there at Texas to now being their general manager, and he's the one in charge of building out their staff. So you got a lot of dudes like this. And yes, Austin Thomas, Barton Simmons, formerly of 24/7, who was hired by Clark Lee there in Nashville. And Austin Thomas is on that list as well. And this quote in this piece came from one anonymous general manager who said, quote, "Austin Thomas is the mastermind, the blueprint, the process. He's just so smart and innovative." And I will tell you, when Les Miles hired Austin Thomas back a decade ago, and then when Ed Ogeron took over for Les Miles in 2016, they created the general manager title because Austin's ambition, I remember talking to him a decade ago, and his ambition was to be an NFL general manager. And I'll be so fascinated to see, and candidly, I've not had this conversation with Austin since, so I don't know if this is the case, but I'll be so interested to see if college athletics, if these general managers of college teams start getting poached by NFL teams. And I don't know if that'll be the case, but in the same way that college football has basically become a training ground for the NFL, it feels kind of like these college front offices, which are being built in the mold and the image of NFL front offices, might end up being the same thing, a training ground. Like, it used to be that college coaches got hired by the NFL because of the general lack of success. You don't really see that as much anymore, but I'm wondering if we might see this more with these front office people being hired. Like, a good example, like Preston Tiffany was on LSU staff. It's a name I know a lot of fans probably don't know, but he was one of those guys who was working as the director of player personnel, and he just got hired by the Philadelphia Eagles to work in their front office. The Philadelphia Eagles are the reigning Super Bowl champion. The Super Bowl champ just came and plucked a guy off of Austin Thomas's staff, which goes to show just the value there in identifying talent and building out your roster and allocating your resources as such. So it was an interesting read just to look at and just to see how all of this may continue to develop and evolve as we move throughout this new and modern era. But the one thing I would say maybe that's at the sort of the tip of the spear here is having Austin Thomas back in this role. And it's a major hat tip to Scott Woodward, because Scott Woodward was Austin Thomas was Scott Woodward's hire. Scott's the one that identified and made the decision to bring Austin back and put him back in the football operations office. And listen, this was, a year ago in the fall, Beth Rex, who was Brian Kelly's chief lieutenant, had been for a decade, left. And she wasn't fired, but what was happening was Scott hired Austin Thomas, planted him in the football office, and more of Beth Rex's autonomy and role were being taken away and given to Austin, and so she made the decision to leave. And I understand that, and that's like, I'm not saying it's a good or a bad or right or wrong. It's just the way they decided to move through and divide responsibilities, and she didn't want to do that. That's fine. But as the picture keeps getting painted, it becomes clearer and clearer that this was the right decision, because you look at just in one calendar year where LSU's roster was, where it is now, where the collective was, where it is now. I certainly think losing Kelly's in hurts on the revenue generation side, because she was so creative, is so creative, and so impactful there. She's now at Rutgers, so you're going to have to replace that. But yes, I think we can turn back the clock to Scott Woodward's decision to bring Austin Thomas back, to implant him, so to speak, in the football program, and to give him that autonomy, and to work as the general manager, and to hire his staff as he has done effectively. You're already seeing the benefits. Now, we got to see it manifest on the field, right? They got to go win games. But there is no debate. Like, this is an objective truth. The roster is more talented today than it was a year ago. The NIL collective at LSU, Bayou Traditions, is healthier today than it was a year ago. They're in a better position with rev share today than they were a year ago. It's like the coaching staff, the support staff is better today than it was. All those things are better. So hat tip to Austin Thomas, and that, to be included on that CBS Sports piece is certainly appropriate. Now they've got to go make it happen on the field, and that's where the coaching staff comes into play. Just like in the NFL, the front office puts the roster together. The coach has to maximize the talent. That's what you're seeing now. It's no longer just the head coach recruiting and building their board. Like, you have a front office that's managing player personnel, recruiting events, NIL, rev share, all that stuff. Of course, the head coach is going to have a say in all of it, be in the center of it, but you have to have the staff in place. And then once you get all that talent here, it's on the onus is on the coaching staff to now go coach it. And we'll see what this coaching staff can do with this group of talent, which is certainly good enough to win any game on its schedule. I'm not saying they're going to win every game, but they're certainly capable of winning any game on their schedule.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.